John, Ronald, Kels. Hello. For now, it's just me, you, and us 9 people here. So, 10, both the happy-looking teddy bear and the mean-looking teddy bear. I'm curious where everyone else. Like, okay, now the people are joining in. That's what I wanted to see. Awesome. Awesome. You are gonna come up. You are gonna come up. Hello.
Hello. Why am I up here?
Why are you up here? Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna need a minute. I will be right back. But I'm gonna stay up here, so I'll be right back with you guys. See you in a second.
All good. Ooh, it's been a long time since we were 5 people up here, right? Us
yeah.
5.
It must be something important, right?
I hope so.
I mean, I guess people already have a feeling of what is going on, because especially in the KERC Discord server, it has been announced that the AMA day that John has announced somehow coincides with our announcement. So if people want to guess what it's about, you can already throw your guesses into the community questions channel right above the Pillars hot seat. In the meantime, thanks for everyone that has been coming. But of course, we're going to wait a couple more minutes to give people time to trickle in as well.
Shall I quickly put out an announcement just to say that we're live?
Sure.
How is everybody? How are you guys?
I'm okay. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous.
I'm a bit nervous.
I've only got some questions that are going to be directed at you, not all of them.
Ooh. John, how are you doing today?
Hello there. I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Extraordinary. Well, I'm very excited for today.
I am very excited too. What have you been doing in preparation for today's big event?
I have been reading a lot, writing a lot together, and I hope that, especially since Mad Hatter is facilitating the conversation, I hope that I can help him as much as possible, and I hope he doesn't throw me some curveballs.
Well, for the people that are just joining us, that is a very modest answer, David, because actually, as we know, for the last few weeks, we've been preparing for this big event today, and I'm very excited to see how everyone receives it. It should be the start of something quite fantastic, and you've done to say a little work would be the understatement of the year. It is been a mammoth task with everyone involved, but yeah, very, very exciting.
Especially what's about to come, right? It doesn't really stop here, of course. Now it's going to really kick off, and that's even more exciting, right?
That's it. Today is the beginning. This is the absolute start of everything to come, and I think it's such a bold statement from everyone involved. It's a real, flag in the ground of what can happen, what will happen, and what should happen in this space. And it couldn't be with a better group of people. So yeah, I'm delighted to be here with all of you. Delighted to be here with our upcoming guests and the community. This is the place to be, everyone.
It is, and I think you put it perfectly. A bold statement is absolutely right. And we shouldn't lose sight of the fact, of course, that a lot of that is down to the community. So thank you guys. Thank you, everybody that's listening, and to everybody that's going to jump in and might listen to the recording because they missed the beginning. But, without the community, without people being willing to come to our CEEs and engage with us in the space and really talk to us and get the pillars word out there, we wouldn't be in this position. So thank you to everybody that's listening.
It's a really special community here. You've got such a great group of people. Yourselves, you founders, what a fantastic three you are. I'm so lucky. We feel so lucky to have joined you, and the community itself. I mean, the engagement is top notch. The conversation, always fun, and it's just a different space. It feels like a really great group of people, and the way it's grown so organically, that's so important, especially as we do what we're going to do moving forward, because it's real, right? It's real people in DeFi making things happen for themselves. I think it's fantastic.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. David, how are you?
Doing great. I'm back. Thank you, guys. Just listening to the conversation, and I just want to echo what everyone is saying here about the members here, the team members, as well as the community. And I think what we all share, the five of us, is that we believe strongly that at the center of the success of crypto are the communities, right? The people that give their time, their money, their enthusiasm for these projects, many of which are hopes and dreams. And it should never be taken for granted that, that those sacrifices that people are making are something that we can depend on. And, as I think about the things we're going to talk about tonight, I think about how it really fits into the core of what cryptocurrency is about and why it got invented. There was an incident, let's call it that for the moment, in 2008, where essentially 11 banks crashed the entire world's financial system. And not only that, but no one paid for it. It's like then the governments of the world said, we've got to bail out these financial institutions because they're too big to fail. And out of that frustration, some person or persons created this industry with the goal of decentralizing money, decentralizing power. And the flip side of that is that by decentralizing it, it puts the power in the hands of the individual. And John and I was talking about, and we've now made that sort of a common conversation with the Pillars team, with the five of us, about how do we build on that? How do we take that message, which is certainly the most powerful one, and turn that into something usable, right? So that every one of us can be empowered. And in empowerment, there are all sorts of things that are available: financial, prestige, so many other things that we all want to be a part of something, to feel like we're making a difference, having an ability to come together around important issues that cause systemic change. All of that stuff is available with blockchain and cryptocurrency, but so often it gets put to the side. So for me, I'm happy to be able to unveil what we've been up to and start positioning it so that the value that it can bring to all of us becomes evident. And the great thing, I think for me, the greatest thing about it is that it involves each and every one of us. It's not us, it's all of us. And so very, very, very exciting. When I came in, I heard John talking about the amount of work that's been done. Yeah, there's a lot of work that's been done. And much more to do. So it's right at the beginning. I don't think we could any of us could be any more excited about what's happening. So that's my long-winded opening.
Thank you.
To be here, guys.
Wasn't long-winded. Actually, that was quite succinct and short for you, David.
I knew you were going to put that on the end for you, David. I knew it.
Unusual.
Yeah, you're spot on. You're absolutely right. And I think one of the things that has often been forgotten in this space, something we noticed very early on when we started interacting with communities, started to do these CEEs, is the importance of community in project development. there seemed to have been a time when even projects forgot that community are and should be the most important element of what they're doing. And more often than not, what we were doing is following people that sat at the top in their ivory towers, who would look down and dictate what it is that you should be doing and how you should be doing it. And that's
Yeah.
never really produced the kind of results that it could have. And I think it's time that shift came in to really move towards a model, a new model, a true Web3 model, in which community is put at the center and everything else can be built around that. What do you guys think?
For me, Mad Hatter, I think I think we've talked about this in the group, but the word that comes to mind is, two words: participation and ambition. And you've got to be ambitious, but sometimes you can't have ambition without hope, right? You need to have the hope, the possibility that when you put the work in, when you engage, when you participate, something can come of it. And as David mentioned before, in when we had that financial crash and everything came down, it's because people, even though they thought they were part of something, they never were. They were never really encouraged to become a part of it. There was never that ambition, either from the banks or the financial systems, to include people. And then this guy came along and created this Bitcoin thing, and everything has moved from there. And we kind of led or continued what was already there, this legacy of, this is how you build a financial institution, this is how you interact. You create something and then you just get followers, and that's how you continue. But what we're doing here is more ambitious. And I hope that the people in this community will see that everyone that we're bringing in, including our guest today, they're incredibly ambitious. We're not talking about something small, we're talking about an incredibly ambitious idea that again aims to empower people, not just in the region they're in, but worldwide. And for us and our community, we want everyone in this community to feel that same amount of ambition, hope, potential, that they can be involved and can participate to the fullest extent, like nothing you've seen before. And I think we'll get into this in the coming weeks. And I really hope that people will feel that today when we talk. They'll feel that from our guests, because it's there. He's a powerful guy, and the things that he said to us about the way we want to work together, to engage fully, to become a part of this together. The reasons he's here, the reasons we're working with him and their team, of course, it's to be fully empowered and to bring people together. And let's be ambitious. Let's take this all the way. Let's do this all the way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Wow,
and I
I'm
think that's
motivated.
perfect. Yeah, it's a perfect place to segue into what it is that we've been doing. And if any of this, for everybody listening, if anybody finds that it feels a little disjointed, or we're a little bit back and forth in terms of what we're trying to communicate to you, just know it's because we obviously had our CEE in which we announced the wonderful 2 editions of the one and only David and Johnnyverse to the Pillars. And then we kind of went quiet, and it wasn't because we'd forgotten about anybody. It was simply because we were busy in the back end, kind of grinding away, putting a ton of hours into what we're going to be talking about today. And there's a lot of information to get out there to you guys. There'll be a lot of information to digest. So yeah, if it does feel like it's hopped back and forth a tiny bit, bear with us, because we will be, as Johnniverse said, over the next few weeks, filtering this out in written form through announcements, so that everybody can be fully on board and understand what it is that we're talking about. So let's get cracking with what we're going to be talking about, which is our Web3 model, and why we feel we wanted to transition to a Web3 model. What we feel that should encourage, which is, of course, collaboration, sharing, support, and we want to prosper together. And that is absolutely doable if we adopt what we believe is going to be a model that it's not seen in this space currently. Nobody is doing it. It's going to be unrivaled. And if we get this right, and we will, because it isn't something that we're going to fail at. If we get this right, I think everybody is going to be extremely pleased with the results, and you guys are going to be very happy with what comes from it. So, Dave, we now call him Potato Dave.
Oh God.
Do you want to?
Hello.
Hello. Do you want to give us a little bit of a short understanding of what the framework is going to include, what this kind of Web3 model is going to mean for not just ourselves, the pillars, but also the community within the pillars.
I think it's funny that you asked me, because I was waiting for your sentence to end, because I wanted to ask you, what is this Web3 model that you're talking about? I think we've been throwing around this Web3 model as some kind of buzzword to everyone. And the idea behind it is that we kind of transcend to the next step of the evolution of how this space should work. Personally, to me, that's my idea. When we were talking about this, that's always how I viewed it. The second, not the last bull run, but the bull run before, everyone was on their own, right? You were a sole investor. You were navigating through this crazy crypto world, not knowing what you're doing, or kind of like dipping your feet into cold water. Then the last bull run, you saw people kind of joining together, and you could see the power of communities. And I believe where we are moving towards to, and from project perspective and investors perspective, is that the community is the most valuable asset in this space, in my opinion. And I believe we also, all five of us share it. And we want to not only facilitate that, but we also want to empower it. And we not only want to empower the community, but we also want to empower every single puzzle piece, every person in this model, in the community. And for this Web3 model, we basically have three core elements to it. On the one hand is an energized community. Number two is us, the team, where we are here to implement our strategies, to manage this, implement tools to facilitate this, and of course, have a back and forth with the community, work together. And then, of course, number three, the great projects that we are going to work with, and that we are going to support, and that we are going to collect all together to create an awesome conglomerate of awesome projects. That's the Web3 model.
Right. Yes, great. Thank you, David. And just dialing into that energized community, the first sentence you said there, the energized community. Energized and engaged. We want you guys to be engaged. It means that, for what we're about to announce and for what we're going to be telling you guys that we're putting in front of you, there are certain demands that you're going to hear us make. And I don't use that word lightly. I do mean demand, and I mean it in a positive way. We're going to make certain demands of the community so that we can all grow collectively together. We believe that if we, everyone always talks about passive income, and let's face it, there are very few projects out there where you put some money in, never have to look at it, don't have to interact, don't go into its space, and you get money out. Life doesn't work like that. And actually the best results are not necessarily come from just being passive, but actually engaged, actually interacting with the communities like the pillars, and of course the client projects that we're going to be working with. Those client projects need engaged people. If someone is putting something in front of you, if a project is coming to you, as Joniverse said, with real aspirations of doing incredible things within this space, they're driven, and they're not just shooting for impossible stars, they're actually shooting for things that are really very obtainable. If they're putting an opportunity like that in front of you, then at the very least, what we should be doing is giving something back to them to really push them to the next level. And when we start thinking of it that way, I think really we're going to see a very sizable shift within this space, and we'll push projects to heights that probably haven't been seen before in this space. What do you think, David? Put him on the spot now.
Which David? Oh, David.
You're Potato Dave from now on.
I think.
Okay.
Potato Dave. Oh my gosh. I'm laughing, community, because we've been going around with different names, calling each other like different names. And so now he's Potato Dave. Okay. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think that, and part of it, right, the challenge has been, what's the dynamic? Like, how does the dynamic work between projects and community. What is fair to ask for? What is fair to offer? The thing to keep in mind is that what separates the crypto industry from, say, stocks, like a company, is the community. Community is active. The community is a part of Johnnyverse, and I said this months ago, that what we learned when we were working with Titano is that the community needs to be a part of your protocol. You need to have a very specific idea on how to manage them, how to make sure that they're getting what they need, how to utilize them, how to give them benefits. So that's been a challenge with a lot of projects. They just either take it for granted, or they don't think about it, or they don't put enough emphasis on it. And so what we've been working on is, how do we create a model that allows for the community to be clear about all of these things, the value that they get, what's needed. Because on the other side of it, it also strengthens a project, right? Having this community relationship, it strengthens a project. And as a result, it strengthens the entire industry. Part of the challenge, Mad Hatter, in all of this and all of that we're doing, is too many projects fail. Right. And that negatively affects every stakeholder, if that's a community, or if it's a project, or if it's a wallet, or if it's a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange. Everyone suffers as a result of it. And what you have is everyone sort of, rather than looking at how to collaborate, they're looking at how to protect their own interests, right? That's a natural offshoot of the environment that we've been in. So no one wants to take a risk, because we've all done it before. I'm an investor and I've taken so many risks. My trust is short with projects, right? Because I've been misled so many times. Well, why are projects misleading investors? Because they don't feel comfortable with what they have. Why do centralized exchanges churn through so many projects? Because they don't trust the projects, because more than 90% of them fail. Who's going to break this set of conditions, so that the entire industry can thrive? And yeah, we're taking a bold step with some things that we believe will be a part of that, not the entire solution. And again, what you've come away with when you do the work that we've done in putting together this model, this framework that you talked about, is that, yeah, we need to have a heightened amount of awareness, of participation, of enthusiasm from the community. But we have to create a model where there is a direct benefit for doing that. Not a, hey, help, look, guys, trust me. We're not asking for trust. The moment we have to lean on trust, we've got an insurmountable problem. But that's what I'm going back to, this framework. The framework, which is what's been taking all this time behind the scenes, allows us to create a model that everyone can recognize the value that they're getting out of it. And I think that's the magic in what we've been working on.
Right. Yes. Agreed. And you know, we've mentioned work several times, and I cannot speak highly enough of the amount of work that each and every one of us has put in. And it hasn't all been plain sailing. We've had plenty of disagreements in the back end, and we've had plenty of back and forths on how we feel we should move forward with this. You know, how we feel it should look, why it should look one way or another for both yourselves and ourselves, of course. And that just speaks to how passionate we all are about getting this absolutely right. Because, you know, once we get this right, once we get this to a point where, well, we're already at that point where once we launch this and we get everybody to a point where they can see and understand what it is that we're trying to implement, the sky's the limit, truly. And as OX Various, I already see correcting me, says in the comments, he says, you know, you should always push for the stars, because if when you fail, you still land on the moon. And you're absolutely right. You should push for the stars. And even the most kind of staunch critics of this space, even the people that really want to, with every project that comes out, find where it's going to fall apart, they're still here, they're still listening. And that is because, to some extent, they want this space to succeed. There is massive potential here. I don't think that anybody is going to deny that. And I think if we get this right, if we get the process that we're going to be implementing right, then those are the steps that will be followed in order to help projects succeed. And you know, we as the pillars have never stood behind any particular project. We've always been one of those spaces that is very impartial. We'll bring people in for CEEs. Yes, there'll be some channels on the left-hand side that you can look at, but we've never fully put our name behind anybody to say, right, actually, this is a great starting block. And I think, getting to any stage where we're prepared to do that shouldn't be underestimated either, because there's a reason why we're doing it. There's a reason why we want to do it. And, there's great potential, and that's what we see.
Mhm. Excellent.
Um,
I would like
okay,
to,
please. Yes.
thank you, Matt Hatter. I would like to talk about one really important element of Web3. We talked about it a little bit, I think, last time, but it really sets the framework up, I think, as we talk about what is happening and what has happened as a result of it. So why a Web3 model? Web3 says that, first of all, you own your own personhood. You are yours, and as a result of that, whatever gets generated, if anything that you do, or simply by you being someplace, it has the opportunity, or it generates revenue, power, prestige, any of these things, other benefits, that is yours. That's yours. And the challenge with that's a great thing to say. It's like I listen to all of these social media projects that are coming, and they're saying, well, we're going to start this thing with where we're going to, give people back their data. Well, that's great, but there's nothing you can do with your data. So it's not just owning the data, it's being able to turn that data into something. And so what we're saying is that there is power, revenue, opportunities, all sorts of things that are generated individually in a Web3 space. And when you bring that into a community, it gets magnified. The whole is equal to more than the sum of the parts. And so when we talk about what we've been working on, is we've been saying, how do we then leverage that? How do we pull that all together into this framework and then be able to turn it into positive outcomes for the community?
Mm-hmm.
That's the foundation of what we're talking about. So you start out with an energized community like the Pillars has. You create this model. As Matt Hatter said earlier, the tools, the strategies, the approaches, the management of it all. And then when you engage with the type of a project that we're going to announce today as our partner, the possibilities explode. They just explode. And yeah, so I just wanted to say that as we right now start getting into some more details, I just wanted to say that's what has happened. It's not, well, that's a great idea, and maybe if you put it into play, maybe it'll take root. It's happened already. And it's a testament, I think, to everyone in this community, and their enthusiasm about what's going on, using this community as a model, this amazing community. Without it, we couldn't have these conversations. But again, I just wanted to lay that down as that's the framework that we've been using, that there is a value that's here in the community with all these amazing people coming together and being active. We need to figure out a way. And and then on the other side, there are projects that need this type of a community and the things that it can offer and support and provide to the strength of their project. But what needed to be in the middle was a framework to allow those things to work together seamlessly to unlock all of that value on both sides.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so I
said.
just wanted to lay that out.
No, thank you. And of course, as part of that framework, one of the things that we're working on is in development in the back end. It's a Pillars kind of hands-on management and software system. We are developing it as we speak. It is something that we will be implementing as soon as we feel it's ready to be implemented. And that software system is really to help push forward what it is that we're talking about, the framework that we're referring to. And we alluded to this and spoke on it during the last CEE, and we're going to now tell you what that is. It is what we're going to be calling the PP, or which is the Pillars portfolio. Now, the Pillars portfolio is what we alluded to you guys back when we did our last CEE, which is a portion of whatever we generate through the Pillars should go back to the people that make this community what it is, which is you guys, the people that are listening now, the people that interact, the people that communicate with us, the people that come to these events, the people that support projects by asking questions the right way, which allows us to really deep dive into whether or not they're going to be something that you feel you should or shouldn't or will or won't invest in. We feel and felt that we should be shining that focus back on you guys. Now, what does that mean for you? It isn't just going to be a case of sitting back, you know, every month you're kind of silently hanging around within the pillars, and then at the end of the month you see something that comes into your wallet. It's going to be more interactive than that. We want it to be more engaging than that. We're going to be asking you for certain things, and that might be some messages every day within the pillars that really helps us grow, that really helps us get to a stage where we can start being noticed by bigger and bigger projects, by the centralized exchanges out there that we want to be noticed by, not because we want to be noticed, but because we want to show A, what a community can do together, and B, we want to educate people the right way. We want to ask those right questions, and we want to start asking them at the highest level, not kind of, you know, where people might feel the lowest level is. Everybody's important, of course, from the bottom all the way through the top. And we're going to do that and achieve that by working with one another. So this portfolio is going to be a representation of our hard work that we've put into creating a place where hopefully you guys feel free to express your opinions. You can come in, you can talk to us, you can talk to projects, you can talk to one another. We have some fantastic people that are giving up their free time, jumping onto our stage here just to educate fellow investors. You know, this is something that they wanted to do. They're excited to do it. They put a ton of effort into the back end to do it. I mean, you guys don't get to see the conversations and the rehearsals that happen and the reading that's going on and the research that's put into it. And people like that are gems in this space. And there are more gems like them out there. There are a ton of people in here, I'm sure, want to interact more. They want to be able to jump onto a stage. This is the place to do it. This is going to be where you can do that. And for that effort, for that energy, we want to start giving back. And that's where the Pillars portfolio comes in. David, Potato Dave, sorry. Do you want to follow up on that a little bit and just kind of give your thoughts on what the Pillars portfolio is going to be for everybody? Oh, either no one can hear me or I can't hear him. Which is it? Someone help. Oh, he's disappeared. Okay. The other David.
Okay,
Oh, is
sorry.
Potato Dave back? Yes, you're back.
Okay.
Great.
Happens. Yeah, I thought like I'm not going to talk to you as you said, Potato Dave. So I thought like I'm going to ignore you and jump off of stage. Yeah. Yeah. So just to boil it down to what it is, as everyone knows that, of course, that saying, time is money, right? On a very basic form. If you, the community, everyone that is listening in here, is engaging and participating and working together and pulling on one rope together, we can achieve great things. And for that time that you are putting in with that specific activities and that those participation things, we want to reward you for that as a part of that portfolio. So we have, I don't want, let me go into the technicalities first. So for now, we have an interim solution that is going to be working starting from Monday, where you guys, for engaging, for participating, for talking, for all other activities that we want and ask of you, are collecting points, experience points in the beginning. Once you reach a certain level, you will have access to a portion of that portfolio, as in that the rewards of that portfolio, to be more specific. In the meantime, while you are engaging and we are growing together, we can grow this portfolio alongside it, and basically have a back and forth, a pendulum swing of the community grows, the portfolio grows, the community grows, and we can create an engaging, buzzing community. And that supports you, of course. That supports the projects that are partnered with us. which we will get to very, very shortly, of course, because I know we have some people in here that are eagerly waiting for a specific protocol to talk about. But yeah, and as Matt Hatter also has rightly said, we are working on a more technical solution, and it's currently being developed and will be live hopefully soon. That will facilitate this the system even better and faster, so that it's going to be a bit more seamless. But I see David has unmuted himself. I believe he wants to interject for a second.
Please. Thank you, David. Thank you, Dave, Potato Dave. I got to get used to that now. At least for today. Very good. Thank you for the details. I just wanted to add, so what the new pillars model is. Matt Hatter mentioned earlier that the pillars had been a neutral type of a community where we didn't take sides. We simply, a project came in and we presented that project an opportunity to explain themselves, what they're up to, what they plan on doing, how they're positioned to the community. There's some benefits in doing that, but we're in a space, as we mentioned earlier, where too many projects are failing. And what's needed more than just some voices who are allowing people to speak is voices that can then help the projects perform better. Now, in doing that, anyone that jumps in needs to be fully in, because as a result of doing it, the risk gets shared. But also, so at the same time, the benefits should be shared. So when we talk about the PP, the Pillars portfolio, what the new model for the Pillars is that when we partner with a project, they will, Matt Hatter said this, David said this, they will provide benefits for the community. And one of those benefits is that we will build a portfolio of partner project tokens in a portfolio that will then be, the benefits of which will then be distributed to the community based on actions that the community does. So this is a brand new, never seen before in all of cryptocurrency model where we will essentially build a portfolio of tokens for this community with no financial investment, none. Simply by being here and participating, you will gain access to some of the hottest projects in crypto.
Right.
And we mentioned earlier that this idea was a great idea, but we had to figure out, is it possible? And this is what has taken the most time. And as Potato Dave mentioned, we're still developing exactly all the elements of it, but some things the things we're saying today are 100% certain. We will build a crypto portfolio that everyone in the pillars will be able to participate in with no financial investment. So if you think about a project that, for instance, we can help, and you'll learn more about the things that we're doing and why. You'll hear a little bit about why our first project, who's agreed to this model, by the way, is so excited about it. When you hear it, think about other projects that you're involved in or projects that you'd like to be involved in. We could get them engaged with us, and you could be not only benefiting from whatever happens with them, but you could help to make that project become everything that you believe it could be. We have an entire community that's able and capable and willing to do that. And in doing so, not only, we like to say this is not just about financial, it's also about safety, right? You bring that project into this community, and now that project becomes better, becomes stronger because of the input of this community. This community is driven to have great projects. And again, you'll see more about it, but I just wanted to add that to what you were saying, Dave, about the process of it happening. The overall is that's what we're saying. Our perspective when talking with a partner project or project partner is that as a result of this community participating and bringing the value that we are going to bring to your project, we need to share in what's going on with you. Now you have a really engaged community, not people that you're talking to over there, but people you're talking to are part of what you're doing. So the benefit that you get is there's a complete change in the dynamics. They're much better dynamics. And yeah, we think it's extraordinarily powerful. As I mentioned, I'll say it again, no one else is doing this. We're the first and only. I'm saying that because, yeah, I'm saying that because, like everything, it's going to, spur a lot of other ideas around this, which is good. Innovation is good. But, I've always said this is an innovation space. And looking at the community needs to be positioned differently in these projects. Because think about it, without the community being positioned optimally, the project is more risky and has less of a chance to be successful. The idea that 3 or 4 people are going to be able to make this stuff work, it's just wrong thinking. So again, the question was, great, that's a great idea, but how do we design this thing? How do we put it together so that everyone benefits? Right, so that there's this give and take, and there's this win-win, an overused term, but win-win scenario, again, that not only just rewards both sides, but also increases the quality of the space.
Right.
So again, with Dave talking about the Pillars portfolio, it's an integral part because it shows commitment from both sides, right? And it's clear how it works, it's clear how it operates, and yeah, our agenda is to grow a portfolio of 50, 100 projects that this community is participating in.
Right.
That's our agenda with no financial investment. Right?
No,
Your
and
time is your financial investment. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. No, sorry, I interrupted your thoughts. Apologies. I was actually going to pretty much say exactly what you just said there at the end. We use the word leverage in this space all the time. Yet nobody truly leverages their time. No one's leveraging their time anywhere really in projects. We all want to spend time here. We all enjoy spending time here. And we wanted to create something that allows you to leverage that time because your time is precious. It's the most precious commodity that you have. It's the most precious thing that you can give anybody is your time. And we're asking for time, of course, and we're asking for interaction. All of that boils down to time. And what does that mean for you? As the one and only David just said, that time now means that we're going to be in a position to grow a portfolio to, frankly, massive sizes. Collectively, I think this can be pushed to a really, an unprecedented size for what it is. And who are going to be the direct beneficiaries of that? Well, it's going to be the community. It's going to be those that give the time, those that have leveraged their time in order to push us to get to that point. So, we looked around and we wondered, have we got a model that works? Do we have something that people are going to look at? Not just the community, but do we have a model that projects, that partners are going to look at and think, well, actually, this is something that's very exciting. This is something that we should be looking at. And we were very specific with whom we wanted to work with. We were very specific about the direction we wanted to go in, especially for the first partner, because this isn't just going to be anybody that can jump on board. That again, what we want to also do is make sure we continue the work that we're doing in trying to protect investors, trying to protect you guys that listen by asking those right questions, but also by weeding out those that we think might not necessarily. That not everybody is out to do dodgy things. Some people might just not make it because what it is that they've created at this point doesn't work, or they're rehashing. As I know some of the audience members listening like to say, they're rehashing kind of old mechanics that are a bit outdated and we know are going to fail. And we can start having a bit more of an input into those mechanics and say, hey, but if you changed it here, and our community thinks that if you did this and implemented that, perhaps it might stand more of a chance of surviving. And they go away and they implement those things, then we look at them. But anyway, I digress. We were looking at a very specific partner, and this partner have real world yield. They have a business understanding. They have fantastic knowledge base and an existing business that backs what it is that they're doing in this space significantly. They are driven. They're intelligent. They're able to articulate their thoughts incredibly well, which are all very important things. And, the project itself, we think, is truly a pillar of this space and something that everybody should be aspiring to try and build out. I'm sure you guys will agree.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
without going on too much, I'd like to introduce you, and I'm going to bring him up on stage now. I'm going to bring John from KERC on stage. It is with great pleasure. I've just got, yeah, perfect, John. John, it's with great pleasure that we bring you up on stage and finally let the community, your community, our community, people listening here know that you are going to be the first partner of the Pillars and the Pillars portfolio. We're going to be working alongside KERC. And our aim is to collectively be successful and really put the power of the communities behind you and really drive this in the direction that it can go.
Yeah,
How are you, John?
I'm well. That's quite an introduction, you guys, in a sense. Where I was been waiting, like, oh gosh, you're gonna put me off now. But hello, everyone. It's good to be back again in the hot seat.
Yeah, it's good to have you back in the hot seat, John. I mean, we've waxed lyrical about how excited we are about what it is that we're creating, this Web3 model and the partnerships that we're forming. And you are our first. So everything that we've been saying and everything that we've been commenting on is all very much directed at yourself and what you guys are doing. We're truly excited to get into the weeds of what you guys are going to be creating and where we can play a really integral part in pushing that forward. From your point of view, from KERC's point of view, I'm really curious to know what was it about our model that we put in front of you and the power of the community perhaps that you thought was something that you guys not only wanted to look at closely, but would be something that would be interesting as a partnership for you.
Well, I think first and foremost, like being on so many AMAs, like on my initial journey to building up KERC the way it is and the place it is, I can safely say I've been in a buttload of communities and speaking to a buttload of people, and I honestly felt very at home when I was with the Pillars and when I was speaking with everyone here. And obviously, as the community grew, we sort of get to know in terms of how a community is going to act when they are treated well or if they are engaged well, and or on the other hand, if the community is just there for their freebies and stuff like that. The long-term communities that sort of are built upon and are well taken care of. And for us as well, because KERC is it is a very exciting project, but it's gonna take time for things to come out because it is very heavily based on traditional businesses. So being in the Web3 space, especially when we are trying to move a lot of that forward in a sense and trying to excite the whole industry as well, we believe that the community who are with us at the initial journey should be rewarded, and we should in a sense empower them as well to be our ambassadors along the way.
Right, great word, ambassadors. I think that's a really great way to describe especially the community members and now the Pillars community as well. People should see themselves as ambassadors, and what do ambassadors do? They go out there and they get the word out and they talk about good projects. And one of the most exciting things about KERC for me is how consistent you guys are able to deliver the information. And it doesn't necessarily have to be wild APYs, wild APRs. The returns don't have to be ridiculously promised. It's slow and steady always wins the race. And what struck me when you came into the Pillars to do the CEE is just how deep your knowledge was within the sector that you're working in, and how you were bringing something that you're already excelling at into this space rather than building something within this space and then hoping it excels. And I think that approach really should be the cornerstone project for DeFi going forward. And I think you guys are really perfectly placed to be that cornerstone project and really, push boundaries here.
Yeah, thank you so much for the kind words. I don't know. I don't have any response to that.
Can I heap on a little bit as well?
Yes.
I said that when I became aware of KERC, that whoever is behind this project, this is smart business. John and I are in the same region of the world, and I know, like, I have friends who are in that industry, the medical industry, and it is so disorganized that the idea of coming in and providing efficiency, which then turns into effectiveness, and being able to navigate, through the regulatory framework, governments, and then the private side of it, whoever is capable of taking that on is really smart in recognizing it, and also very resourceful in moving all of these elements along. And the more I listened and watched what KERC was doing, just the more impressive it became. And then it was interesting because as we were talking about KERC and looking, who's our partner, there was like a dual discussion going on, right? It was like, boy, we really think we can bring them value, and the collective ideas and communities and what they're doing, projects, it's amazing. And at the same time, we were all going, boy, we really need to do this with them because we have to do everything that we can to make sure that they don't fail. So it was this dual thing back and forth. Gosh, I hope they really want to engage with us, because we think we know we can bring this value, and we need a project like this that sets a standard for this industry that can, stabilize investor sentiment, right? Which is just eroded and eroded and eroded, rightfully so, because of the quality of the projects or the quality of the people behind the projects in some cases. So it was really interesting to us, having, this really strong desire to want to be in business with you guys and want to bring value and want to bring value to this community at the same time. So, without making you feel too, embarrassed or self-conscious about any of this stuff, it's challenging, John. And, when I remember asking you, like, why did you come into the space? And you said, you love crypto, you love DeFi, you want to be a part of the good stuff that's happening. And, to me, that's an amazing answer, particularly because of, what Mad Hatter said, which is, you have a real world business that operates in the biggest industry in the world. And just by itself, it has success written all over it if you can do the things that I've talked about, and you're doing it. And then to bring that to this space, you're definitely the type of person, your team, your project that fits with how we think and how we operate. You've been honest, you've been a gentleman, you've been forward thinking, you've been complimentary, and all of that stuff fits in with our personalities and where we would like to go. So you are very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Indeed.
I know you have a ton of things that you guys want to announce, and one of the things that is going to be the benefit of having this kind of relationship is that you and I are going to hopefully have a lot more sit downs together one-on-one in the pillars, in which we're going to kind of deep dive into what you're doing. We're going to run through many CEEs, and the one thing I want to let people know is don't for one second think that the hard questions won't be asked, or you're not able to ask the hard questions. In actual fact, we at the Pillars believe, and KERC believes, that empowering the community is the way forward. And the one thing that struck me with John and KERC, and I recall you saying this during our first CEE, is that you love the hard questions. You don't shy away from any of the hard questions. You don't shy away from any of the difficult topics. And if something isn't going right, you're going to meet it head on. So everybody should be, happy in the knowledge that it doesn't change our approach to how we're going to conduct conversations. And in actual fact, collectively now, we have many minds working together. And that's where really, I think, John, you'll probably agree that, KERC is able to now empower the community by standing behind the community, by offering it a reward model for its time and for its, collective mind, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely echo that part where I do not shy away from hard questions, and I love the questions that the pillars ask in that sense. Going back to how, I've been on many AMAs, and the questions that people ask most often there's generic questions, and I love that Mad Hatter really took the time to sort of deep dive and did a little bit of more digging than most people in terms of my background and stuff like that, and ask those really good questions, because I think most often than not, when you are within an industry or when you're within that business, it's very second language to you to sort of just know these things and know these knowledges, and it doesn't translate across to everyone. And it's such a shame because I think we were speaking so the last time a few times as well during our discussions, because this partnership has been in the works for quite some time. We will like, look, how do we translate these information across? Because like whenever I have conversation with them, I'm like telling them like what a 15-20 minute monologue about like what's happening and what I've been up to and stuff like that, and I'm like, well, it's going to take me forever to sort of write this down. So how do I sort of get these information out to the everyday guy and our community, basically, and to give them confidence in terms of what we're doing? We're just not sitting on our asses and doing nothing, because at the end of the day, I think just want to remind everyone that we love being very lean on the back end, on the traditional side, in terms of just doing the M&A side and the due diligence side. It's just a 5-man team with just client managers and a few other people just to run the operations. And as we grow, only we start bringing more people. So we have our hands full, but it's really in a sense of a very good space, and we are very excited to be able to partner with I would say, a community that will sort of appreciate in terms of like the power of partnerships, and a model that basically empowers you for your time rather than just for you for like a few giveaways in that sense.
Right. Great. Thank you. And it's interesting that you say that you're a 5-man team. I think actually now it's a 2,900-man team, not including your community. That's where we're headed with this. I think everybody should see themselves as part of the team. Of course, maybe not those sitting at the top that make the core decisions, but every input is going to be valuable input. Every piece of suggestion or advice or thoughts, every time that you speak to someone who, you never know who you're speaking to. You never know who's in the audience. You never know who's roaming around in other spaces. And by being part of the team, it doesn't mean that you have to make those core decisions or be juggling multi-million dollars worth of portfolios. It can just be word of mouth. In actual fact, that's often the most effective way of growing a business, growing this kind of partnership, is just word of mouth and spreading it. So now, hopefully, with this new model, it's going to be now a really galvanized, energetic team of thousands rather than just 5.
Yeah, definitely. Just to put it out there, like they will be an AMA with me after this, guys. Like we're just laying out the foundations in terms of this partnership and how we see the space moving forward. Because I've got a few messages from people like, oh, is the questions coming or stuff like that. So just want to let everyone know there will be a space for that.
Yes. We are going to arrange an AMA, and there are going to be a ton of questions that we're going to be asking. Don't worry, and we're going to be having regular updates. You said some kind things about the research that we put in, and it's very much a team effort, John, in terms of how much research goes into projects. And I often just describe myself as the voice box for the guys that sit in the back end that do a lot. One of the reasons why, and really it's one of the reasons why we truly believe that we could implement this Web3 model, is we respect the space, we respect the projects, and we respect you guys listening. That's why I put all of the effort that I do into the work that I'm doing, is because I respect everybody that's taking part. And it doesn't matter if you're one of the smallest projects or the smallest content creator or someone who only has $10 to invest, or you're one of the biggest content creators, the biggest projects, and you have $1 million to invest. Everybody in between both of those extremes is respected. And the way I can show that respect is to put my time in. And by putting my time in, I can get the rewards of being able to speak to more and more people, to really interesting projects. And it's put me in a position to work with the likes of the one and only David, Potato Dave, Viral Voodoo, Johnny Verse, and now John and KERC. So that in itself should be an example of what the Web3 model can do. Leverage your time. If you leverage your time with us, if you leverage your time with KERC, if you leverage your voice, if you come in, you interact, give us your thoughts, turn up to these CEEs, you're going to see growth in the Pillars portfolio, and you're going to see growth in really how much you can get back in.
Excellent. I wanted to add that one of the special things about KERC also is just how quickly they've generated revenue from launch. It's amazing. And as Matt Hatter, you aptly said, it's real world revenue. They have a model for growing out their business that's spectacular. And as the community gets more acquainted with what they're doing, I think they'll just be just blown away by not what KERC is talking about, but what they are actually accomplishing in such a short period of time. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more coming and so many more things that they've lined up. It really, really is exciting, and it adds to, again, our assuredness that this was the right project, the right people. As you can hear when we're talking about each other, our personalities line up, our goals line up. Mad Hatter, what you just said about respecting everyone, no matter what their role, if you're a small investor, if you're a large investor, if you're a community member, if you're a small project or a large project, what we know is that by bringing this community together under this framework that we've put together, we can create a lot of value. And I want to add, this is an example. Like, we could talk about this for months, but showing what this can mean is even better. And the value that we're creating for KERC going forward is going to be tangible as well. It's not just hey, this is a little bit of thing here. You can't really quantify it. These are quantifiable things. And on that note, we're also building out other partnerships that allow us to create additional value for KERC and for this community. We are, for instance, very close with a medium-sized centralized exchange, one of the fastest growing ones in the world. It may be the fastest growing in the top 30. And this is a project that we're going to work with KERC in moving forward. And they're moving into a partnership relationship with us, so that when we bring projects to them or they bring projects to us, it's being done as partners. Anyone can approach a centralized exchange. But I will tell you that the vast majority of companies, of projects that do, get taken advantage of. So for several months, we have been negotiating. And we want a partnership. We want them committed to our success, committed to our partners' success. And we have specific value, this community and this model can bring to that centralized exchange. And that's their words. They're excited about it. So again, it's just another confirmation that this model that we're working with and the community and the things that Mad Hatter's laying out and the things that John's laying out, all of these things collectively create, as I mentioned earlier, the whole is much greater than the sum of its parts. And I'm confident that we're going to bring in more projects. Those projects will be positioned to partner with KERC, and everyone's job gets easier. And benefits multiply as a result of this model. So really exciting. I just wanted to add that also, Mad Hatter, on what's going on in the output of what's happening as a result of this. It's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And that will, again, translate into more benefits and become easier for all of us going forward.
And I just want to piggyback off of what you said about the medium-sized centralized exchange and the negotiations that have been going on and the talks that have been going on. You guys all hear, of course, the one and only David on the front-facing end when he's talking about projects or if he's talking about us, and you can all hear that he's a good speaker. I cannot emphasize enough how good he is at telling people what our vision is in such a way that they understand it. And by understanding it, they decide that they want to get on board. And he is instrumental at driving those kind of relationships in the back end. The time, the talk time, the writing time, the effort, the notes, the thoughts that go into it, the amount of hours that he puts down. I don't think actually, David, you get enough praise. You give it a lot of the time, but you don't get enough of it, frankly. And he is passionate. I can't tell you how passionate. We have hours worth of conversations. So passionate that we'll have a back and forth that isn't always necessarily positive in the moment, but always positive that once it's passed, the outcome is we all know that we're on the same page and we know we're moving in the same direction. And he wants to steer this ship right. And that's one of the elements that also makes this most exciting for me personally, that I get to work with these great guys that created the pillars, And then the one and only David comes in, who gives a totally different perspective. He's eloquent. He can explain thoughts well. He's able to, deliver our messaging to people at high level in a way that, a lot of people cannot. And then we get to work with the likes of KERC, who frankly are, like we've said, they're leading the way in this space in terms of how they operate. Just for a perspective, they have one operating asset that has currently paid out 6,850 total. They have 17 assets under DD and 2 closing assets for negotiation. You guys can crunch the numbers on what that amounts to. You guys can take a look at what that means. For anybody that doesn't know, it's within the medical field. You guys can have a think about what that means for the future of KERC and where it can go. And I'm telling you guys right now, with the likes of the one and only David and Johnny Verse, of course, working in the background, you're here. I mean, he makes me sound like I'm a commoner, and I'm fairly well spoken for a British person.
Oh my God! All right, John, it's time you and I leave together. Oh my gosh!
But yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that. Look, you guys have put so much work into this, and really, I couldn't be more excited about the future. So on that note, Potato Dave, pleasure. Potato Dave and John, do you guys want to talk us through what it is that you've committed to the Pillars portfolio, why it is you decided that would be the commitment, and what it really means for people? Because one of the things people want to hear is, well, actually, what is it? And I think who better than the man sitting at the top of KERC and the gentleman that created the Pillars Discord?
Yeah, sure. I think maybe Dave, you can lead the way with this one.
Potato Dave, go for it.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Where do I start? Should I start with the number?
Yeah, sure. Okay, go ahead.
So, KERC and John Snorky Pie and of course the rest of the team, they have contributed 20,000 KERC tokens to the Pillars portfolio, which will be where the rewards, the benefits of that will be going to the community. That's I want to throw that out there. I want to let that simmer for a second, because that is not a small number, and that also shows I hope the trust that KERC has for us, and of course for even better for the community and for this idea and this concept that we are building for this Web3 model. So it's 20,000 KERC tokens, and this
how much is a KERC token at the moment?
It's $1.10 the last I checked. Or we have some offers down at $1.05.
Right. Great. Just so people can really understand what that means for the Pillars portfolio, but more importantly, the weight that KERC is putting behind community, and what the importance of community is for KERC. Sorry, I interrupted, Potato Dave. You can peel me later.
All good. I just wanted to... Oh God, I already hate it so much.
That's very funny. Peel me later. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this will as I said, this will be the first contribution of the Pillars portfolio, and yeah, the benefits will be going to the engaged and participating people of this community. So thank you for that, John. And yeah, I want to pass it on to you now, because you're the man of the hour here. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we go into any questions or anything anyone has, feel free to I don't know. Do you guys want to pull people on stage, or is this a question on the sidebar sort of thing?
I mean, if anybody has a question and they want to throw their hand in the air, by all means. I mean, we don't want to keep anybody. I know it's super late for you guys, so we don't want to keep anybody here too long. One thing I will say before you go, John, for KERC, and explain why. One thing I will say is, please be aware that this is going to be something that is, as it stands now, it's going to sit behind a multi-sig, multiple signatories, both from the Pillars and from KERC. So you can rest assured it's not sitting in one wallet that is going to vanish. We're taking this serious. KERC are taking it serious, and we want to ensure that you know that we are serious and we are committed to this process.
Yeah. So just to give you guys a background before we sort of like jump into more questions. So the reason why we sort of move this amount into the multi-sig is because the pillars believe that obviously in terms of also to reward the community with some KERC tokens in terms of engagement and time and the partnerships that we are going to bring together is also that this also creates a healthy balance because we are also going to be moving some of that into a staking pool. This would mean also that everyone grows and everyone wins at the same time together. This is not a one-man show, and we know at KERC as well, like everyone who has been with us through the hacks, through all the issues that came along, that we are not here to sort of play games. We are very confident in terms of what our performance can be and where we see ourselves being in the future. So this is why we have the confidence, and I guess we have the sort of I would say, for lack of better words, the balls to sort of put money where our mouth is and say, look, we are in this for the long haul with the partnership that we are building, and we are in this because we believe in the vision that what the power of community can sort of bring to both sides, not only to us and to everyone else as well. So I guess with that, let me just open up the floor, I guess, to anyone who has any questions for KERC. Maybe if you don't know about us, if you want me to dive deeper into that, because I'm very much like one and only David as well. I can go on for hours if you just let me talk.
Uh-oh. What time is it?
In the meantime, I just want to say, in the meantime, while people gather the courage to raise their hands or ask the question, I also want to say, it's not just, don't view this as the Pillars portfolio as a freebie that we're just throwing around. This is there to also, of course, support KERC. We want to reward people for supporting the Pillars and supporting KERC. Everything, that amount that is in there is there to empower you, to empower KERC, and so that we create a wonderful balance where you, the community, the investors of KERC, and the hopefully soon investors also of KERC, get rewarded for the time that you put in to elevate such an awesome project.
Yeah, definitely.
I
Excellent.
see no hands going up, so I'm going to jump in just for. Oh, sorry, David. Did you want to jump on that?
Just for a second, I just wanted to build on a little bit on what Potato Dave was saying, and that is, it's about creating a model, a dynamic between KERC, the Pillars management, if you will, and the community that allows us to come together and create more value for everyone, more safety for everyone. And it's not just financial, right? It's important to point that out, although that certainly is a part of it. The word that we're all using up here is empowerment. The financial empowerment, right? The financial benefits come as a result of empowerment. What we're doing is we are using this model to empower the community, and a benefit of that is you get financial rewards. So our goal and our agenda, and what we're spending time now on figuring out, is what is the optimal model where we can create the most empowerment, because the most empowerment means the most rewards, but it means other things as well. Our being able to empower KERC allows us to have a great relationship with the centralized exchange. See, the quality of the project that we bring to the centralized exchange allows us to make unique demands of them. So the stronger KERC is, the stronger we make KERC, the more demands we can make, the more benefits that come back to all of us. This is the circular dynamic. And we are doing that with every type of project in the space. We're having conversations with layer ones about the same thing. We want to empower. We want to have an ability to look at a project that we're working with, KERC. We want to go to the layer one that KERC is on, and we want to say to them, hey, this community is behind that project. We want special treatment. That's what one of the major benefits of what we're doing is. It's not just financial. Financial is an element of it, but this power, it can resonate throughout. And that's one of the amazing things about the crypto industry that, again, we realized it wasn't happening. I'll give you another example. We all know that there are sketchy projects that have some great elements. And we're sitting and we're looking at them going, boy, if they would just fix this. But you're one person with an idea. Now imagine the entire community saying, hey, listen, if you would fix that, we'll throw this entire community behind that project. It helps us to raise the quality of projects up in this space. And that helps everyone. So I just want to be clear. It's the financial rewards come as a result of the empowerment. And that empowerment is going to allow us to move around this entire space through every stakeholder relationship and create a better relationship, not only for us, but for them. This relationship, what you're hearing John KERC talk about, is that this is really important for him growing his business. He wants to succeed. And he realizes the way that we do this, we've got to get people on the same page, all pulling in the same direction. And what does that mean? Providing them specific benefits. Right? Creating this win-win relationship, this back and forth dynamic that, again, as a result of doing it, now we take this to the centralized exchange. Hey, look, we're not just some project hoping to get on. If we can do this properly, you have the support of an entire community behind this project that's dedicated to making sure that this project succeeds. So you can hear my passion about this stuff, because this is what's at the heart of all of this. It really is. And it allows us to improve everything that's going on in this space. Everything. And I'm happy to report, and by the way, Matt Hatter, thank you for the kind words. Everyone is working really, really hard. Everyone, all of us. You know, and you're right. We go at it with each other, not disrespectfully, although we do call each other funny names, but we do go at each other because we're all passionate about this. And we all, not only do we want to make this work, but we feel like we've got the elements. We just have to implement them. It's going to take time. And by the way, I want to add that in, Matt Hatter, and you could add maybe a little bit about it. But, we're asking the community, give us time to figure out all the mechanics. There are a lot of things that are going to be tested. We're going to need time and a little bit of room to get them right. As Matt Hatter talked about, we are creating a piece of software that's going to manage a lot of this, the rewards and managing data. We want to build up a database around what we're doing so we can provide that to KERC. Hey, KERC, listen, we're taking polls in our community. We found all this data. We found investor sentiment is this way. How do you use that in terms of growing your project? Decisions that you're going to make. Maybe you have a new use case that you want to launch. We're hearing from the community this is not a good time. All of that ends up being important. And then we can take that same information to a centralized exchange. We can tell them how to launch our projects on their exchange. And we can transfer information from them. Well, what have you seen? Oh, that's what you're saying? Well, what about this? Well, what's the best way to do it? Should we do it this month, next month, 6 months from now? All of that information and data pulls out of this relationship. So there's the financial elements, right? There's the power elements, and all of these things add up to a completely different type of relationship between investor and project and stakeholders around the space. That's what we're embarking on, and that's what we're really, really excited about it. And the confirmation is we've got this amazing project, KERC, who has bought into this and said, you know what, I can see the value in what you guys are talking about. And I like the fact that it's aimed towards our long-term success. It's aimed towards that. All right, I'm off my soapbox now.
Thank you. We need time. You're absolutely right. And there are going to be some people that are wondering, how does it affect us? Put it into layman's terms. Will there be a Gitbook you can read? Yes. In layman's terms, the more time you give us, the closer you get. What we're going to do is track engagement that gets you to a stage where you can earn a portion of the portfolio. That's the point. The portfolio is a collective portfolio. The more and the bigger the portfolio grows, the more the community, the engaged community members can earn. And that's the point of it. It's leveraging your time. And it isn't, don't just think about it in terms of, a single monetary value, but rather that it is an opportunity to get it to a point where it's massive, not just the first or the second or the third amounts that come in, but think about where it can be. And at the core and at the beginning of all of this journey is KERC. The bigger they become, the bigger this becomes. The further KERC is pushed, the further we can push this Web3 model. So it's leveraging your time for benefits from the portfolio, in layman's terms, for anybody that still might be a little bit confused in terms of how it affects them. As the one and only David said, of course, give us time. Allow us time to build these things out. We're not going to have everything in place immediately. We are going, and I'll let Potato Dave explain when we're going to start tracking engagement. Before I do, I see Johnnyverse has jumped up onto the stage. I am going to guess he has some nuggets of wisdom that he wants to drop into the chat here, I think. This is where I get.
No, I was just listening. I was so
okay,
happy
perfect.
to sit alongside you and get close to your voice.
Thank you very much. I'm glad we're sitting next to one another. So, one of the things we say is time is important. And one of the things we want to recognize is people that have been dedicating time to this space. And there are two people in particular who have dedicated a ton of time to educating our community, to researching areas of the space that they didn't need to research, and they've done it all off of their own backs. They do blockchain basics. One of those is tomorrow. I'm sure everybody knows Smiley and Alpha Cruz. And what we wanted to do in recognition of both of those is reward each of those people with 50 KERC each. So what we're going to do is we're going to give them 50 KERC each, create KERC holders out of those two particular community members, show them where it can be vested, how it can be vested, how the ecosystem works, have them ask questions within the KERC channel, and then open the floor to anybody else that wants to jump up and do something similar like a blockchain basics. If you are a content creator, if you're somebody that just wants to be able to offer a voice, doesn't matter if you want to do it in a written in a channel, or if you want to do something on stage, you're welcome to give us that time, because we value your time. And don't be afraid to reach out, open a ticket and say, maybe I could do something within the community to help educate. Maybe I can have a slot on a particular week that blockchain basics isn't happening to speak, and we'll facilitate that, and we'll allow you to have that voice. So don't be afraid to reach out. But yeah, we found it was very important that we wanted to give back to those two particular community members and reward them for the time and effort that they've put into the pillars so far.
Yeah, they've been absolutely fantastic, haven't they? And the energy they bring is just exactly what we are trying to inspire and promote in this community. So I'm so happy that's happening. And just to tag on to what you're saying, if I may, there, Mad Hatter, this is a call to arms. John is here from KERC. He has. KERC has contributed this huge sum, and it is really, as I said at the start, this is a statement about their ambition. This is a statement about our ambition with our portfolio. This is the Pillars portfolio. It belongs to all of us. So it is there for all of us to grow, to make something of it. And to your point, Mad Hatter, we will come up with, in the coming days, weeks, and months, we will come up with countless ways for you to engage, countless ideas for you to get on board with, and to share these wonderful projects, KERC being the first and the primary one here. But we welcome you to come on board and share your ideas too. And John from KERC has been very forward about that, saying, we are open to that. We want to hear your voices. We want to hear your ideas, because that's what all of this is about. The medical industry is one of those. It's a behemoth. It is a gigantic industry that is primed and ready for disruption, for the taking. That is why KERC is here. They are ready to disrupt this industry, and that is why they need us, because this is such a unique community that we have right here. full of wonderful people. If you each of you come up with some ideas, go out there and share this, our portfolio, of which you all belong and have a piece, is going to explode from here. And as we partner with those layer ones, as we move forward with our centralized exchanges, as we join KERC to everything else that we're doing, and that means not just us, but you, all 3,000 of you, if you share this out there, let's move on this. Let's create the momentum to take this to where it can go. And like I said, it's ready for disruption, and we have a big piece of it. I'm really grateful. We are really grateful to John and KERC for entrusting us, and this community and all of you with this. Thank you, John, from us.
Well, thank you to you guys too. That's very kind words.
I see Lazy Dog has a question, so let me just invite him up to talk with us. Hello, Lazy Dog.
Hey guys, most of the Pillars community doesn't know me. I'm a mod at KERC. I've been involved with KERC since the very beginning. I'm the third person, I believe, to invest money in the project. I wanted to just express what I'm hearing today is incredibly exciting. I really look forward to what we can accomplish as a team. But I also just wanted to say to the Pillars people that are not aware of KERC, don't have a history of understanding with KERC, I, like you have said, I've spent countless hours talking with John voice to voice, and this man is phenomenal at what he's doing. He's growing what's going to be, in my opinion, an amazing project. And we just announced the first payout, and for us to have profit participation off one clinic just, to me, shows the power of what this can accomplish when we get to 30, 40, 50, 60 clinics or more. And I'm really grateful that you guys think that this is a project that's worthy of this type of partnership. But I think you've also chosen a project that's very good benefit to you in the long run. And I just wanted to say thank you to both sides, because I think this is going to build something very amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the kind words, Lazy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for coming up and saying that. It's echoed from our side, and it's appreciated. And everyone in the Pillars, the management side, has seen dozens of projects. And you learn at some point that it's not just about an idea. It's about a team that's smart and dedicated, realistic, hardworking, and that really understands when they're onto something. And John is someone, he's humble, he's honest about what he says, he does what he says, and what it's done. And I think, Lazy Dog, one of the things that we always talk about is, project's job is to pay attention to their investor sentiment. Like, what's important to you? And a major part of this is keeping people up to date on what's going on, making them feel like they're invested in it, which I can hear in your voice. So it just confirms for us, these are the types of people that we need to be in business with. It's really, really difficult. What the team there is doing is really, really challenging. They've got a real world situation. They've got the crypto side of it, and they care so much about the crypto side that they're doing this relationship with us. And I will tell you that will never be taken for granted. And we are extraordinarily excited about what's going to happen. Extraordinarily excited. We want to work closely with you guys. We want to hear your ideas. We want you guys to become part of this community. Everyone here to become part of the KERC community, not just for the financial opportunity, but certainly for that, but also because we need to spread this type of sentiment. Here you are coming into this community to get on stage to talk about a project that you're involved in, not because you're on some hype or some hopium situation. You're talking about real world results. And that's extraordinarily exciting. We need more of that. So you're appreciated. We are going to outperform. Because I just think this team is absolutely amazing. For me, this is the most exciting thing I've been a part of since I've been in the crypto space with what we're doing right now here in the pillars, because it perfectly aligns with how this industry was created. We're supposed to be working together, supposed to be helping each other to build something. But you've got to have people who are realistic. You've got to have people who are ready to reward people who are participating and helping. And when you get no friction about any of that, you know, when we initially talked about this model where we needed to reward the community, it's a major, major step, right? Not just having it be something where, yeah, when we decide to do it, it's built into the model. That's what the pillars has done. It's built into our model. And so, yeah, a part of it, like I said, it's dependent. We're not just partnering, we're dependent upon KERC. And we're happy to be that way. We're happy for it to be that way because we're so sure about what you guys are doing. And, you know, again, it comes back to the people. It comes down to the people. So appreciate you getting up and saying some nice words about John and about KERC and about what we're all doing together. We could not be more excited about what this is going to lead to. Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. You know, I've been a voice from the very beginning with KERC because I saw the concept early and I knew what a huge thing it would be. And I'm one of those people that is definitely in that looking for long-term decade passive income. And I knew that KERC could be that. And I look forward to see how I can help contribute to this whole community moving forward too. So thank you for hearing me out.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No, thank you. But I think it's a good opportunity now, as I see we also have close to 100 audience members here, community members, 96 now. I just want to take this moment also, and again, show the power of the community, and want to ask John, KERC John. So, sorry to interject for a second. See to the guys, to the audience, why we start giving each other nicknames, because on this stage we have 2 Johns and 2 Davids, and we need another Mad Hatter apparently. But yeah, anyways, John, KERC John. I want to take this time to ask you just again for the people of our community that might not know KERC, to give us a quick introduction to what you're about and what exciting stuff you're currently working on. Maybe we can get some alpha out of you now. Probably we can get it next time in the next C that we're going to do quite soon. But yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. I'll give a short introduction to KERC, and then I'll drop one alpha for today. We have a few, but I think one is good enough for today, and I guess that would lead to maybe some more questions as well. So what KERC is a DeFi project that looks to bring sustainable and healthy passive income to basically everyone who sort of joins us on this journey. And how we are doing it is basically through the disruption of the healthcare industry. The healthcare industry, as everyone knows, is a very age-old industry. It's a multi-trillion-billion-dollar industry that's just massive, and it's just old in its ways for many reasons, for protections, for safety and health reasons as well at the same time. But definitely with how technology is moving forward, how data is being stored, and the use cases of all these things, there's just so many implications that people don't often want to go into. And when I mean people, I mean the people of institutional and power, because when you're running such a tight ship and such a sensitive business, you just don't want to start changing the rules of the game, and you don't want to start changing how things are done, because you're just comfortable with it and you've been doing it for a long time. So definitely hop in more and start talking to us more in terms of like what we are doing, because our primary business is just to look into investing to assets which are primarily general practitioner clinics, because we see a long-term goal of converting these patients into basically crypto and DeFi users, whereby we will basically also be converting their health data into smart contracts as well, as a universal healthcare passport that we see eventually being used all around the world, because that's the direction that we believe healthcare data should be used and stored. So there are many definite paths for us to sort of get there. And we are just you are lucky because we are honestly just at the start of where we are. So that's just a brief background in terms of what KERC is, and the alpha I'm dropping here probably for mostly, I guess, the KERC guys who are more interested and quite excited, is that a couple of days ago, we've already signed on our second asset. I just haven't announced it because I was just saving it for today, basically. Wow. So we are on asset number 2 already, and that's what I'm going to say for today.
Wow. Wow, that's
Let
some
me,
big news.
can I, if I may? So, John, when you say asset, because I think it gains more impact when you tell people, like, what does that mean for KERC holders? When you just say we just signed our second asset, what did you just do?
So what we just did is we just onboard our second clinic. So when we talk about clinics, is what we use to sort of build our portfolio and build our investment background to all our users. And based on our investment theses, we would like to always buy undervalued assets, which is one of the primary things within the region, which is where we are in Southeast Asia. And with these assets, we normally can get them at around 1 times revenue, a year's revenue. And that means that basically we can buy an asset that can essentially return our investment within 1 year. And these are assets that have been upgraded by us yet. What this means is that they are very traditional assets. They are normally pen and paper, because our team comes with the background of being able to introduce TPAs, third-party insurance players, institutionalize towards more corporate billings. We also work with government. So when we start onboarding our systems into the more traditional clinics, we can also increase their revenue. So this is how we sort of are able to hit our 1.5% with profit participation on this one asset. And with this second asset, we are, which is a clinic as well, we are looking to basically see more profit participation in the next months and the months to come. So as we onboard, basically, you will start seeing the profit participation start growing. And that's just what we're aiming to do. We're just aiming to get good assets, which are clinics, and grow our portfolio.
John, one question related to that. Thank you for that explanation. Fantastic. So when did KERC launch?
When did we launch? That's a very... I've not been keeping track of time, man.
I can imagine. My point is, though, that this is in a short period of time. Because typically DeFi, right? People, you know how projects are, right? They get you on a website and they go, oh, man, trust me, just bear with me. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And typically when the thing finally comes, it's not really the way it was described, and it's not. But you guys have very quickly turned rhetoric into revenue. And not only that, but again, use the foundation for now bouncing to more and more and more and more, which one can be a fluke, right? 2 with more coming, that's a business. And so, that was really my point. It's like, and one of the reasons why we're so excited, we talked about previously how you guys are not just talking, you're performing. And so that was really my point. It's taking what you're talking about, like, as you mentioned, this traditional standard, that works a certain way, got all these built-in processes that are there, and trying to move people into a new way, a better way, a more effective and efficient way of doing it. It's tremendous. And then to turn that and say, look, guys, we're not just talking, we've done it. And now we've just done it again. It's tremendous. And, for someone like me who's been, building and consulting business for decades, I don't want that part to go by. That's, I think, my point. I just don't want that part to just be minimized. It is tremendous.
Thank you for sure. That's really, really kind words. I think from the get-go, we at KERC already believe, like, I'm a firm believer of helping this space and this DeFi space move forward, because I think we do need a win for the community, especially in terms of honesty and how we should move forward in I would say a crypto space wise, where revenue should be prioritized first, as in making everyone's money back should be the first priority before we start shooting for the moons, because we do have those ideas. But I think the most important thing is that we always build a project based on foundation of revenue before anything else.
Excellent.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
that's huge news. And of course, you guys also have, the unsung heroes, the ones that don't get to sit up on stage, like Snorky Pie. A quick shout out to him. He does so much for you guys in the background, in the back end. I can already see in the comments a lot of people, wanting to highlight him for a minute. So I'm going to do it. I particularly like his profile picture. It always makes me laugh every time I see it. But
Wait
in
till you
terms
hear
of
him speak.
yeah, well, that's what he said. It's really, these things were all looked at when we were considering whom we wanted to work with, and as I echo what the one and only David said, it is something that we are going to be screaming from the rooftops as a community, for you and with you. It's huge to deliver in such a short space of time. It's not easy to close deals, especially on something like that. But to have 2 operational clinics, 2 now on your portfolio, is massive, and it shouldn't be underestimated. And as you rightly said, this is just the beginning for you. You're just at the starting point of your journey. So, where you guys are going to be in 6 months to a year's time, I can't even imagine. It's going to be massive. And I look forward to sitting back down in 6 months and 12 months' time, having another conversation with you and talking through how many clinics you have going on.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too, for sure. And yeah, shout out to Snocky. I try to get him on stage, but he's a rare breed of Pokemon, or whatever you call him. If you see him on stage, you know something's up.
Right.
We're definitely gonna get him in for one of the next ones. I mean,
Right.
no, you painted a picture of a myth now, so we're definitely gonna get him up here.
Yes.
It's so I see. I'm going to address one thing. It's one of those kind of things that I would normally look past, but I've seen it come up several times. And there's a person in particular who is going on about the hack that happened in the Discord, and we know we don't shy away from difficult conversations. I want to address it just very briefly. One of the things that you've got to look at this is not to be sad about the hack itself. Of course, the hack itself was not great, but the speed by which the team were able to rectify the situation, the manner with which they dealt with it, the announcements that came out afterwards, the time, the care, the effort they put into ensuring they knew exactly how much had gone and where it had gone to, and the time and effort that I know because I was in his DMs that Snorky Pie was putting into the back end. It speaks on the team and how they're prepared to deal with things. So rather than being sad that it happened in the first place, I'd like you to flip that narrative a tiny bit and be grateful that you have a team that dealt with it in the manner that they did, because there are plenty of other teams, Discord owners out there that simply would have swept it under the carpet, never mentioned it, or shut shop and left, and they didn't. And on top of that, not only did they not, you can look in the announcements how they dealt with it and what it is that they said that they would do for the community. And they've just announced they have a second clinic that is now operational. They've just closed the deal. So, things are going to happen in life. In any business, things are going to happen. Things crop up, mistakes occur. It's how you deal with those mistakes. It's how you deal with things like that actually set you apart from the rest. And that is one of the core reasons we were looking at KERC, and we wanted to work with KERC for the very ability to deal with problems, to not freeze, as the one and only David will often say. Some people will freeze when they're met with an issue. To not freeze, to immediately jump into action and rectify it very quickly. I think that's what you should be focusing on, rather than focusing on the fact that a hack occurred at all.
Yeah, that's a very good narrative point of view. I'm always too objective.
I just, it's all well and good. It was brought up several times, and I get it. But look at it from a positive point of view, and the fact that you're still building on the business is great. Okay, so I don't think nobody else has put their hands up, so there are no more questions. I'm incredibly excited to roll out what we're going to be rolling out in terms of how we're going to be helping KERC. There will be some competitions that we run. We are going to be tracking. David will give a final. Potato Dave will give a final word on when we're going to start tracking. What do we want from you? What do we demand from you right this second? Give us your time. Give us a little bit of time. Interact with us. Talk to us. Ask us questions. If you want to jump up on stage and do a KERC, if you want to cover KERC in a weekly event, for example, you want to do a video on KERC or write a Medium article, come to us, talk to us about it. We'll help facilitate that. That is what this is about, because collectively as a community, the more we work together and the more we leverage our time collectively, the stronger we're going to get.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen. I wanted to build a little bit on a point that you laid out, Mad Hatter, just now, and that is, what is the thing that you can contribute? And part of what we're doing when we're talking about building out this model, this framework, is figuring out what exactly those things are. And, as you said, Mad Hatter, but I want to throw it out there even more strongly, you might have some ideas about ways to do that we're just not aware of, but that might be really, really effective. So what this process should be, particularly now, and I think throughout the life of this project, right, which will be forever, is come to us with some ideas. Work together. We rewarded Smiley Girl and Alpha Cruise tonight. They decided to come together. And I remember when Smiley Girl came to me and she said, "Would you be a part of this?" And I said, "Listen, you're taking the effort, 100% I'm responding to it. You let me know when you need for me to be there, and I'm happy to be there." So this is a community. Maybe you're not a great speaker, maybe you're not a great writer, but maybe you've got a little idea, a great idea. Get together with someone else in the community who is a great writer. I'm a really good writer, and I use AI platforms to write stuff quite often, or to spruce my writing up. I think the effort is what's important. And what we're doing is we're saying that the effort will be rewarded. You don't have to worry about that. The effort will be rewarded. But we've got to, I think, collectively as a crypto community, move from being passive to being active. Because that's how we're going to get what we want. It's not just contributing, it's also contributing towards the things you want to be a part of, to the things that you want to see. We know that projects like KERC proliferating not only brings more revenue to each of us, but it also, as an example, pushes back regulation. When the regulators come in and say, "What the heck is going on in this space? It's all meme tokens and crappy projects." We can point to a project like KERC and say, "No, that's not true." So all of this, I've said it again, it's all connected and in a wonderful way. And every outcome, right, that comes as a result of this connectedness brings benefits to all of us. So we're not expecting everyone to, be able to participate in the same way, or even in some way that we've currently thought of. Bring us your ideas. Tell us things that you think are really important that we need to hear. We need input. We're gathering data, right? We want to be able to provide, as I mentioned earlier, Kirk, with data. Maybe you're great at, pulling together data. I get people all the time sending me ideas about maybe the projects that you're familiar with. Guys, talking like this is another project that you might want to talk with, or all of those things can be very, very helpful. So we don't want to put any limits on what participation means. We want us collectively as a community to define what participation means. And we'll all know it when it's bringing value. And we'll help you with that. We're not sitting as gatekeepers saying, "No, that's not it." We're saying, let's work together. You guys are going to have great, I've said this consistently about communities. Communities are going to have better ideas than the people who are managing those communities. You guys are at a lot of times on the ground a lot closer than we are and seeing what's going on. Amazing people with amazing skill sets in these communities. And so we want to tap into that, right, for the benefit of everyone else, to make everything stronger. And, that's at the heart of all of this. So we are more than excited about bringing this to you all. And we are extremely, extremely bullish on what this means, because, again, it aligns with the foundations of crypto. It's about spreading the power. And by spreading the power, you don't have any one fault or failure point. We want everyone in this community to be amazingly powerful. Now let's see what happens. Now let's see what happens when we deploy that out in the crypto space, in the regular space. I talked about this with Titano, and it's funny because I understood what I was saying, but I really didn't totally get it until I came into the pillars. We we need to build a community where we can deploy it into anything that we think is important. Anything. We come together strong enough, we can move anyone. We can move anything in a direction that's beneficial to the community, that's beneficial to our families, that's beneficial to the greater community, that's beneficial to making positive change. That's what's the amazing part of this industry is. So there's a level of excitement about what all of this means and what moving to this type of model unlocks. Look at the conversations we're having right now. These are amazing conversations about things that weren't available a month ago. So, as I was talking with the guys yesterday, I said, look, guys, we're creating something that's completely new, that's never been here. But that, again, was in the original thinking of the people or person that started this industry. We have to be empowered. And in being empowered, it just makes everything better. It provides more for everyone, right? We move out of that scarcity mentality and we create an abundance mentality, which means you can't have everything that you want. We got to work together to do it. So yeah, as Mad Hatter's saying, and as Potato for Dave's saying, and as John's saying, I'm saying, we are going to demand some things of you, but for everything that we demand, we're going to give back value. And that value will increase more and more and more exponentially as this thing grows. I want to add something else. We are at 2,900, I don't know the exact number, 2,900 approximately people in this community. We have an ability to quadruple the size of this community tomorrow. Tomorrow. We're holding it back until we get this right with this community. So it's not a size issue. It's we're going to get this model right with the people that are here that have provided the value for us, and we're going to grow that out, and then we're going to grow this community exponentially. And as we do that, your power will grow. So for me, that's a little element of this that we're rewarding you for being here, for participating now. And as humbly as I can say this, we need your help. But again, we're not coming with our hands out. We're coming with return gifts, and happy to do it. Thank you, guys.
And
David, I know you want to say something.
Exactly. I want to add on immediately to that by just saying the tracking as for the interim solution for the pillars portfolio, the PP. I know it's a fun name, so so everyone who wants to participate in the PP, the tracking. So
it's okay. We have a PP. We have a PP too.
You have a PP too? Okay, good.
Okay, no comment.
Okay. It's already getting late for everyone.
Ours stands for profit participation, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't
so our
comment.
PPs are tied together. Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
Okay, this is taking a wrong turn now.
Right?
But
Yeah.
I wanted to say the
Potato
tracking.
Dave took a wrong turn.
Yeah, I'm already starting to rot a bit. The tracking will start with Monday. You will get more information to that as well. It's the interim solution, and we are currently developing the full-fledged solution, and we're going to get this right. But of course, in terms of KERC and in terms of John, this is not the last time you're going to see that beautiful kitty up here on stage. Mad Hatter, please, you go on.
Yeah, I'm going to be strong arming John into. I know you're super busy, John, but I'm going to be dragging you back into the pillars next week, hopefully, so that we can sit down and do a full CEE with you. We can dig into what it is that you've been up to, how you've been building out, and hopefully, get a bit more alpha out of you in terms of what's coming.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to do that. I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you guys. KERC John, Potato Dave, the one and only David, Viral Voodoo, and of course, last but not least, Johnny Verse, always
you?
the eloquent one.
And thank you too, Mad Hatter.
Thank you. And of course, most importantly, every single person that's listening now. We really look forward to engaging with you. I can't wait to meet new people, speak to new people, probably have back and forth with new people. I'm looking forward to all of it. So yeah, it's going to be a very exciting time.
Excellent. Can I add one thing, and that is we are going to put a lot of this into a document in the announcements.
Yes.
So yeah, so you can see a lot of this, because we do know, as Matt Hatter said in the beginning, it's a lot of information, and that certainly isn't lost on us. So we're going to put together a document that we're going to try to get out. It's going to be on me, so please bear with me. I'm going to try to get it out within the next 12 hours. That hits the bullet points on all of this. And I'm sure that will stimulate questions. So please bring those to any one of us or all of us. And then we are prepared to have any amount of CEs with the community to clarify, go more deeply into, explain better any of the points that were here. And you guys, as always, are appreciated.
Perfect. Okay, thank you all, and look forward to speaking to you all very soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.